I think about my life a lot. When will I? How will I? What should I? There are too many questions, and it feels like life is an unending drive through rush hour traffic. One road clears, but you still encounter another blockage up ahead. There's no stopping to take in the fact that I've asked these same questions once and got answers. I move right on to the next set of questions. The same anxious, toxic cycle. But when I pause, I realize that these same questions once weighed heavy on my heart, and that the road eventually clears up. I remember thinking about days like this years ago, when I was worrying about what my future would look like, who my partner would be, when I would find a partner, when I would eventually leave Nigeria. Back then, we'd have all those tweets where like, I can't wait for that part of my life where I have the love of my life and our kids and stuff like that. And I was talking about this with my husband the other day. We were talking about how it's like a never-ending cycle. It's like when we started applying for our PR, we were stressing over that, and then when we got that, we finally moved to, oh my god, find a job. But when he got that and moved over here, it's not like, oh my god, I need to increase my income. And we never really just sit in our blessings and say, oh wow, thank you, I'm living in an answered prayer, and I really want to talk about that today. I was sitting on the table the other day, doing my applications. I've been on it for a bit now, and I just smiled because a thought came into my head, and I was like, remember when this was you, when you graduated from med school? And it was just like, I sat back and I was like, yeah, wow, I've actually come a long way. And I really want to just talk about how, dealing with anxieties of life uncertainties, all of that stuff, how I'm learning to just chill, take a breather, take a break, just pause and actually reflect on how God has come through for me, and just hold the faith, because sometimes you're in these things and you can't even see anything else. It's just you and your problem, and you're nitpicking at that problem every day. It looks like life is not moving forward for you. But I'm learning to sit back and actually reflect. One of my biggest prayers is that my life would be a testament of God's goodness. That people would see me and they would know that, this is somebody that has been greatly helped by God. And I never really want to lose sight of that. So I want to share a few ways that God has really come through for me, and how reflecting back on these things and just pausing and not sitting in my problems, but, glorifying God for how far He has brought me, how these things are really helping me in this season of my life, trying to find the next thing and really settle into this new country that I am in. I guess this is what the YouTubers call a story time. So, story time. So there's a whole lot of my life that new followers, people that are just like learning of me, would probably not know about. But before, I was a content creator, storyteller. I was a medical student, and I was in med school for about 6 years. And after I graduated, we have to do a compulsory 1-year housemanship. It's compulsory, you literally have to do it. If you have to do it before you even go for your NYSC. And I remember graduating, I had fulfilled everything, and now it was just like, okay, now I need to do my housemanship so I can move forward in life. I was also at that crossroads where I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do in my life, and I wasn't quite sure. Well, I knew I didn't want to practice. I came out of school, I graduated and everything, and then it was now searching for a job. And you guys will not believe me, it took me about 1 year plus to actually get a job. That was like a long season in my life where it looked like nothing was actually really happening for me. My classmates had gone on they were rounding up, people were relocating to the UK to continue to pursue their medicine career and everything, and I was just there in my house, Right, it was a tough time for me. And I'm starting with this story because that period really defined the momentum of my life. And so here I was, fresh out of medical school, couldn't find a job, and I was at home. I wasn't earning. I was just literally just there. I had my blog. I was blogging constantly. I remember stressing so much that period. I was like, oh my god, what's happening? But then it was also within that period, that time frame, that I got the idea to start my Cassidy's blog planners. You guys will probably not know what that is if you're just finding me, but the OGs, they know what that is. This is what the planner looks like. I ran this from, I think, 2016 or thereabouts till 2019, and I stopped making them, but it's not really about this. Within that time frame that I was looking for a job, that was when God dropped this idea into my heart, and my blog planners, it really like gave my life a bit of direction and meaning at that point in time. And then eventually 1 year after, I finally got like a housemanship slot. I did my housemanship, and then of course, you know, it's funny because when I think about my life, like when I'm looking back, when I'm telling stories to people, I hardly ever remember that, oh my God, I actually stayed at home for 1 year plus. Like, it's not something I instinctively remember. It's like, oh, I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's true, that even happened. Because in my mind, like, I've literally just moved on from that. And that's how it is. It's like you worry so much about something in a particular season of your life, and you're worrying and stressing, and then you get it and you just move on. And you see what I'm trying to say. And me sitting down at the table the other day and stressing over, like, oh my God, job hunting applications. I just sat down and this thought came into my head, and I just had to smile. Towards the end of my housemanship year, I tend to model up the months and the years a bit. But towards the end of my housemanship year, I got diagnosed with endometriosis, right? And I had like 2 open surgeries at different times. I think it was 2016 or 2017, I can't remember. But then I remember every time I go for like my checkup, the doctors would always be like, oh, do you have a boyfriend now? When are you going to get married? Because apparently with endometriosis, they want you to just like start trying to get pregnant, because pregnancy, you have that long stretch of time where you're not having your periods, and it kind of helped with the symptoms a bit. And I remember back there, I also got out of my 4-year relationship around that time as well. I remember being so stressed about it. Everyone was getting married around me, and I didn't even have a partner. I didn't even, like, my life was just it wasn't looking like it was going anywhere. And I remember like stressing so much about that. Oh God, give me somebody, you know. And I didn't eventually find somebody till like 3-4 years down the line. I think, no, I got married last year. Well, it took a while, that's my point. Now I'm married, I have my husband and everything. I don't think about all of that time again. It's like, oh, I've moved on. Now here, like, oh, what would the next thing be? And then when I was done with my housemanship, you know, surgeries, all of that, it was not like, okay, what do I want to do with my life? I was like, oh my God, God, let me know the plans that you have for me. What direction should I take? Should I relocate like my colleagues are doing? Become a doctor? Because that seemed like, honestly, that was like, being a doctor would have just made my life so straightforward, because you know, you know what to do. You have to study past this exam, and you just move on, you keep moving on. But being a creative, which is the path that obviously I eventually like went down, yeah, it's stressful. It's not like there's no like linear path for you. You just have to keep trying, doing your best, and hopefully, you know, something just works out. But yeah, I digress. And so I had that period of time where I was very confused. I didn't know what I was doing in my life. And then I got a job. I got a job working at the Guaranty Trust Bank in their corporate communications. This was me 2 years into being a doctor, knowing that I didn't want to continue down that path, but not even knowing what exactly I wanted to do, not having a name for that field that I wanted to go into. I knew that I had this in my blog, and I was good at content creation. And then guess what? I get this job working in content marketing, corporate communications. I didn't even know what content marketing was at that time. You know, I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was officially. And this was me like being a doctor all the while wondering, oh my God, how am I going to break into this new field that I wanted to break into? And I got a job right off the back of the work that I had done on like my blog for the past 4 or 3 years. And you know, I don't think back at it often, but when I do, it blows my mind, because it shows me how mindful God is of us, you know? And of course, there is the relocation bit of my life. And at some point, I had all of my friends moving out of Nigeria, and I was literally just there like, okay, my G, how far? What's happening? What should I do? And it's funny for me because I don't look back at these things to reflect often, but when I do, it's just like, wow, all of the things that I have worried about, somehow they all worked out. and I just move on right to the next thing to worry about. And that's why I wanted to do this video today, because it was such a pivotal point for me the other week when I thought about that, and it has really like changed the way I'm seeing my current situation. I have definitely had my fair share of struggles in life, you know, right from med school, finding a job after med school, trying to figure out what to do in my life, trying to figure out how to leave Nigeria, trying to figure out dating life, friendships, but somehow everything has led me to this time, to this moment, and somehow everything just finds a way of working out, you know? And let's not even get into the dating one, because sometimes I think about some of the things I did just because I was impatient with that season of my life. I wanted to jump scale fence. I didn't want to like actually walk through it and get to the point that God wanted me to get to. I wanted to scale the fence. And sometimes I think about those things and I'm just like I actually want to throw up. Man. I guess what I'm trying to say with this video is that if you're currently in a season where, you know, nothing is happening and you're stressing and worrying so much, maybe take a breather, maybe pause for a bit and just look back at your life. Look for the patterns of how God has actually blessed you and how things have worked out, and maybe just calm yourself. I know it's crazy, someone telling you to calm down, it's like but yeah, maybe just like take a breather, go easy on yourself, you know. Would always have uncertainties in life. Like literally, I don't know where I'll be working next year. I don't know what my life will look like next year. I don't know if I would have a child by then next year. There's so many things to worry about, but I'm choosing to, you know, have faith instead. Because like I always tell my husband, worrying will not change the situation. And so whilst I am navigating my current down season in life, I am definitely trusting God and choosing to reflect on all of the things that He has brought me through, because yeah, without God, but yeah, I hope that you guys find this video helpful. I will get out of your face right about now and go and apply for some more jobs. Yeah.